Well, a local nurse was recently released from a 21-day Ebola quarantine. This fellow here, Renee Steinhauer, was the chief nurse in an Ebola treatment unit in Liberia. Quite an experience. Joining us live now. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk about just how you got yourself to Liberia. Quite a situation.
Well, it was quite an interesting situation. At the time that all this broke out, I was working with the United Nations in Mali as a flight nurse, which is also in West Africa. And then the outbreak just became too great. Margaret Chan with the World Health Organization was calling for as many boots on the ground, so I quit that job to come out and work in Mali. So came home for a little bit, changed clothes, headed back out to Liberia, where I worked for a couple different organizations.
We're looking at some of the pictures and what you had to go through. I mean, I think when you think about sort of what we talk about in the media here, I mean, it's all over the place. It's hard when it's not something you've experienced or you truly understand or have been there, you know, how to handle it. But you were there, you went through the process. What was that like?
It was challenging. Like any disaster, it's all about resources, the personnel that need the resources, and the consequence of not getting that. With Liberia, of course, it was a little bit different for your humanitarian actors because there was such a great need. You had a lot of first-timers working in there. That's always a challenge. And there's a potential that you could get killed, which in some ways turns it more into like a military assignment, which I'm used to as well. So for me, it's not as big a deal, but for some people, the stress was a little more than they could handle, and some of them did not stay very long.
Well, this is, as you've mentioned, this is not the first time you've put yourself into a disaster situation. You have a long history of doing this. Tell us about some of the other experiences. Haiti, for one, you said that was huge.
Haiti had to be my most difficult assignment of my career. I've done the Asian tsunami. I was in Hurricane Katrina. I was in the Philippines typhoon last year. But with Haiti, the amount of personnel that needed us, thousands, hundreds of thousands needed us, but where I was at, we literally had thousands of casualties. We started off with a 12-person medical team, and within the first day, our resources were gone. So then we ended up in not only, we were in disaster mode to start with, but to have to make the kinds of critical decisions we had to make about life and death, who lives, who dies, and who gets what piece of equipment, what medicines, and having to figure out who is likely to survive. So I'm going to give him that. There's nothing more difficult and more terrible to have to do.
And you have a book out talking about some of those experiences and why you think that medical personnel need to go through these types of experiences for all of our sakes. Exactly.
My book, Saving Jimani, Life and Death in the Haiti Earthquake, talks about the disaster, how it unfolded in Haiti, and how our team interacted out there. One of the things I've learned, I've been a paramedic and a nurse for now more than 20 years. The experiences I had and the training I received was great for relatively small disasters. You could have a plane crash in the airport here in Honolulu, and I have no doubt that your paramedics are going to do great. They work together. You've got a great EMS system out here. But when the system is busted, when you have a truly catastrophic disaster, a Category 5 earthquake, Category 5 hurricane that literally takes out more than what your EMS system can handle. That's when you have a catastrophic disaster. It doesn't mean that you don't have good quality people, but it means that they're overwhelmed. And the only time you're going to be able to manage that effectively is if everybody you've got now has experience and the ability to do it. So instead of having one or two managers who are at a site that have got some experience, we need to get your paramedics out overseas, helping other communities, and then bringing that knowledge back to this community.
A wealth of experience to learn from. Renee Steinhauer, thanks so much. You can find your book online, I would imagine. Appreciate
Amazon.
You sharing your experiences.
Thank you so much.